Welcome back to this week's Power Chat, sponsored by Blue Mark Energy. I'm Fitz, and these are the WTC Gig Powered Studios. Now we continue our Power Chat with Nick Walsh, former K-State punter, and we got him all the way up to his move to Nashville. But Nick is now in Nashville, and let's find out about his career, his life as a singer-songwriter trying to make a big break for himself. Here's our Power Chat with former Kansas State punter Nick Walsh. Welcome back to the Power Chat with Nick Walsh here in the GPC Gig Powered Studios. Thanks to our friends at Blue Mark Energy for sponsoring the Power Chat, and we'll continue our talk. We've got life in Linden, Kansas for the most part. Did your parents rebuild? What did they end up doing?
Yeah, man, they just moved back in.
Wow.
Middle of July.
That was a long process.
So, and we're still bringing stuff in, just tables here and there, just trying to fill the place up and make it feel like home.
So, football career's over, house burns down, pretty much someone sending you a message, time to move on.
Yeah, man, that's what I felt.
It's crazy.
Like,
it really was.
yeah.
I remember talking to you back then. You're like, I'm going to try to get the NFL shot. House burns down, you're gone.
Yeah.
It's like,
see you later.
well, let's
come
go.
back when it's done.
And that really was going to Nashville for you. Was like just diving into the deep end and not even sure if you could swim.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
What you were doing.
Yep.
How scary?
Man, it was real scary. I didn't know. I knew one guy in town. His name was Eric Dillon, and he happens to be a guy that I'm so close with and that I'm working with pretty regularly. But I had no idea about the industry whatsoever. And I had known I was going to move there, but I told my mom I was going to move down there without a place to stay and without a job. So I packed up my guitar, packed up my suitcase. It sounds cliche, like, what everybody says, but it's literally my truck, my guitar, my suitcase, and no bed or nothing. I just took off. And so on the way down, I'm trying to call these apartments. They're like telling me rent's $1,200. I'm like, holy shit! Like,
yeah, Nashville's not cheap.
So I get a hold of a guy about halfway down there, and his name's Eric Kreitz, and he played football at UC Davis. And I talked to him through a mutual friend, Matt Anderson, who played football at Cal, who I was training with out in Cali. And I asked him if I could sleep on his couch, or on his floor. I guess he didn't have a couch. He said, "Can I sleep on your floor for a couple nights? I'm gonna kind of go around and see what I can find, a place to live or whatever." So sure enough, a few days I'm circling around Nashville just trying to find a place to live. I'm talking to people about renting out, and nothing's clicking. I just can't find anything that's affordable for one, or that's in a good part of town. So he's like, man, just stay here, for a while and just throw us a couple $100 a month. And so sure enough, a couple weeks turned into a couple months, and then all of a sudden I was sleeping on his floor for 6 months before I finally was able to move in.
But it's
somewhere.
what you needed in a way.
Yeah, man.
I mean, you just need to get your feet under you. And
yeah, so that was my feel sorry for me moment. Moving to Nashville.
Are you literally sleeping on the floor? Or
yeah, man, literally sleeping on the.
No air mattress or anything?
No air mattress. I probably could have went out and bought one for $100 or something, but I was just like, hell with it.
You wanted to punish yourself, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to get comfortable.
Yeah. And I just, every day it's like, I figured I'd be out of there the next day. And so I was like, I can do this another night and then turn into 6 months on the floor. I'm like, holy. you know.
How'd that work on the old football body?
I mean, I don't know. I think I still got back problems from that. It wasn't carpet, man. It was hardwood. But, you know, I had a guy reach out to me. His name's Zeb, and he's a guy that works through a record publishing company, and he found out I was sleeping on the floor, and so he found a couch for me and gave me a couch, and so I got to sleep on the couch a little bit before I ended up moving out and finding a lease for a few months. So that was nice. That was a treat. It was a nice transition into a bed.
Where are you living now? You got an apartment or what?
So yeah. So
I
right
heard
now,
you joke last night about rents coming up. So.
Yeah. So my buddy, the same guy who let me sleep on his floor, Eric, he just bought a place in North Nashville, and I've just been throwing him some money. I have my own room and everything, but I'm just helping him pay off his mortgage essentially. But I think I might be moving out here soon. So we live in a pretty bad part of town. There's a lot of gunshots that go on every night.
Lovely.
So
there's probably a song in that.
Yeah, yeah. Gunshots during the weeknights and weekends, and it's starting to get a little bit close to where I'm sleeping. So
crap.
I'm having to keep my head below the windows.
It's not Linden, Kansas, is it?
Mm-mm. So I think Mitch Lockbeeler's moving to Nashville, and I think we're going to end up trying to get a place together here in December sometime. So.
Tell me about the grind. What all you do to keep busy? And
man, I'll come back fairly often, just doing some odd jobs around here to make some money, and then when I'm down there, delivering pizzas at Marco's Pizza. That's how I make my money, and they're really flexible with me, and you know, got to really let go of any sort of pride when it comes to that. And, you know, I got a finance degree. It's like I'm delivering pizza, you know, to people who I feel like are always just looking down on me, but I'm just like in the back of my mind, like I know why I'm doing it. And it's kind of crazy though, going from getting a degree to delivering pizzas.
But to get a regular 9-to-5 job would handcuff what you're really there for.
Really would. It'd eliminate pretty much, you know, writing, co-writing. You know, all the co-writing goes on, you know, usually at 10 a.m. in the morning to, you know, 2 p.m., you know. So we're writing songs during the day.
And guys go out and...
Oftentimes working at night.
Yeah.
We're playing shows at night.
A lot of bartending in your industry, I imagine?
Yeah, a lot of it. A lot of Uber driving, Lyft driving. A lot of pizza delivering.
Well, you got to do what you got to do, man.
Yeah, so we're making it work, man. I have no complaints, and it's definitely weird and not what I thought I would be doing to make money, but man, I'm enjoying the process. I finally got to the point where I'm at peace with the process, and I love it, because I know I'm gonna get there someday. So
you are. Songwriting. So how did you get in your first group, you know, to go start doing that? It just seems like one of those, how do I describe this? Like, hey fellas, can I hang out sometime and write a song? You know, it sounds like kind of like a weird entry into things.
Pretty
awkward.
Nice, dude. I mean, so when I got there and I met Eric, he introduced me to a couple folk that I wrote songs and stuff, and they knew a couple friends, and then they knew a couple friends, and I'm still going out by myself some nights. You know, I'm still trying to get, really not as much anymore, but when I first moved there, I was going out to the bars, you know, about every night by myself, and just hoping to God some conversation stirred up, you know, so I could meet somebody. And sure enough, it did. And I've met a lot of cool people down there, and it was weird. It's pretty much like, hey, my name's Nick. I'm new to town. I don't know anybody. You want to go get a beer? I'll buy. You know, that's pretty much how it was. And then they'll introduce you to some more people, and
networking.
It's crazy. And then now I go to the bar, and you know, I know half the people in there.
That's like, crazy.
Not on a real personal level, but it's like, hey, you know, so and so, you know, I know you, and you just kind of get familiar with people, and everybody's kind of helping each other out, I feel like.
So you're doing a lot of the songwriting thing. Are you playing much around Nashville?
Yeah, starting to. They do what's
There's
called...
so many people trying to do it.
Yeah, you got your Broadway musicians who can also be songwriters, but they're, instead of working those jobs, the pizza jobs, bartending jobs, they're down there playing Broadway to make money, and that's their job.
And let's clarify for people who don't know, all that talent on Broadway is playing for free. They're playing for tips.
Right.
And you can make good money if you're in the right place, but it's crazy to think how good that is for the bar owners, that all this incredible talent is playing for free.
Right, man. Everybody's trying to make a name for themselves. Yeah, you got to work that tip jar on the weekends, and but you know, I always look. That's a great way to practice stage presence and just practice cover songs, you know. And you could play a few originals down there, but I would rather just work another job and just hone in on songwriting and my own songs and meeting people, rather than just getting a rundown on Broadway and playing that. And that might be the wrong way to look at it, and I respect what all the musicians do on Broadway. I just don't think it's for me. I know I can't play a 4-hour set, you know, and that's what you got to play down there. And majority of it's cover songs.
Well, you mentioned this last night. You're singing a nice mix of cover songs and your own original material, which is really good, and it's really good stuff. And you said you're not comfortable doing it, and you know, I was with Riley Gates, and we said, just don't do it. I mean, come out. Your original stuff's good, and you have this kind of deep traditional country voice. You say you can't sing, but you've got a nice pocket for a country voice. You really do. It's a really nice place. And you got to be careful about your cover songs you pick, because you can get out of your register real fast.
For sure, man. I learned that last night trying to do
Neon Moon sat right in your voice.
Neon Moon, I love singing that song. That felt real good. That's one of my favorite ones to sing. But yeah, a lot of them just, I'm pushing to hit them notes. And so
which for a guy not comfortable singing sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, for sure.
But okay, so you get into songwriting. When's the first time you wrote something by yourself or with other guys? You said, "This crap's pretty good. This is legit."
Man,
I mean, because we all, you know, you piddle around with it, and like you said, the Survivor song, you could have done something different.
Yeah,
you would probably do it differently today than then, because you learn. But when did you finally go, "Wow, this could work"?
Man, honestly, not that long ago. And I'm a pretty hard critique of myself, but I got invited to this Montana songwriter trip a few weeks back by Eric Dillon, and he was kind of like my mentor moving there, and now he's really starting to help me with my artist development and songwriting and all that. So he took me under his wing and has helped me. He's wrote songs with me, and he's starting to really make a name for himself in Nashville. He just had 2 cuts on Luke Combs' record. All sorts of cuts.
That's the record to be on anymore. Yeah.
You know,
you're scoring Luke Combs.
Trisha Yearwood single, Riley Green single on the radio. I mean, he's all over the place. So he invited me to go on this trip, and we sat down and we wrote some good songs, and we wrote this one song, and it's called "There's a Small Town," and it was after that song where I just said, you know, holy smokes, probably a lot more words came out than that. But and the reason I kind of felt so good about that one is because I could see it in Eric's eyes, and I could just see him shaking his head saying, "That's a great song." And so, you know, when he said it's a great song, and I was just a small part of it, then I'm feeling like, all right, man, like, we're gonna do this. Like, so that just happened recently, and man, I just felt like that's a great song, and every time I sing it, I get chills. So I know it's doing something to someone else too, hopefully. But
and we talked about this last night. You like wrote 5. How long was this retreat?
It was like 5 nights.
5 nights. So basically, you knocked out a song per day.
Pretty much, yep.
How long does it take to develop a song? I mean, there's a lot that goes.
Yeah, man. Sometimes, sometimes I've sat down by myself and wrote a full song in an hour, and it might not be the best song, but I wrote a full song, and I'm just, it just falls out. Sometimes it takes you 3 hours to get the first verse, and you're like, man, that's not good. So it's just like, I don't know, it's just different, man. Like, sometimes you just click well, like me and Eric click real well together.
Is it easier to write with someone? Because
I think
when
so.
You get stuck, they pick it up, and then you pick it up. And
yeah. I think so, man. You just bounce ideas off. I don't like writing with 4 people in a room. I've done that a lot. 3 is great. 2 is probably even better in my book. I like 2-way rides. I think they're great. I can voice my opinion about it. They can voice their opinion about it. We can just bounce ideas off. I've written some of the best songs, 2 and 3-way, you know, but 4 is a little tough, and by yourself's a little tough too. You're not able to see all the angles, but yeah, it's crazy, man. There's a lot of co-writing going on in that town, and that's something I didn't know about. But I thank God for it because I'm writing with some cool people. So
next step, getting a contract to write?
Yeah, man, I'm hoping so.
Because you mentioned you're the only unsigned person at this thing, and
right.
So it seems like one of those people are just going to say, "Well, go back to the boss, say, why don't you sign this guy?"
Yeah, man, I'm hoping that at some point I can just write songs for a living.
But you do want to perform, though, don't you? I mean,
yeah, I'd like to do the artist thing for a while, and when the time comes to settle down with family and all that, priorities are going to change a little bit, and I can't be on the weekend.
You don't want to do the Thomas Rhett thing with the flames and the backup dancers?
Yeah, probably not.
Okay, that doesn't seem like you.
But as crazy as it sounds, I would rather sit in a room with 50 people that are really paying attention to what I'm having to say and sing, than to open up for Luke Combs and no one's paying attention to what I'm saying. They're just ready for Luke to be on the stage. That's just kind of how I am. I'd rather play for free beer to people who love me as an artist and want to hear my songs than to play 10,000 and people just could care less type of thing. But that's just me.
But people don't grasp this. Being a songwriter in Nashville, I mean, there's a lot of people, I almost said dudes, but there's a lot of people doing this, making a pretty good living. You get a Dierks Bentley song, gets released.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you just kind of piece it together, and pretty soon you're rolling, and people want to work with you.
You start getting the ball rolling, and all of a sudden you can make a pretty good living being a songwriter.
And not doing the bus life either.
Right. Yeah, and just playing shows when you want to, and just because you love it, not because you have to.
So as we tape this, you have 2 songs that you've released publicly. Mm-hmm. Dick, they're both great songs. They really are. Tell me about Heartbreak Town. Where's that? You didn't write that, correct?
Yeah, I wrote that.
You did co-write that.
I wrote that with Eric Dillon.
Okay. That's okay. I never put that together. Man, that's a great song.
Thanks, man. That was the first song we ever wrote together, actually.
So where'd you get this produced? What's the process for a young guy like you? I mean, studio time can be expensive.
Yeah, man. Eric actually produced my songs. So we went into the studio, had a budget. We actually used some really great musicians, half of Sturgill Simpson's band and half of Margot Price's band. And they came in and we knocked out the tracks, and then a few weeks later, and Eric was really good about telling them how we want this song to sound and all that. And went in and cut vocals a couple weeks later and just put them out. So it's kind of a weird process, because like when we wrote Beer Somewhere,
that's your second song.
Yeah, that was with Eric, Dave Turnbull, and Gable Bradley as a 4-way, right? So yeah, good song came out of a 4-way, right? So it happens all sorts of crazy ways, but we wrote that song real slow. Like we wrote on a I can't remember what guitar he's playing, but nylon string, just real slow.
And now it's picked up.
And now, so we got in the studio, and it's just funny how these songs can come to life from on a recording from your phone to the studio. And so we start recording that song. They're like, and the drum player was like, "Man, this is too slow. We got to crank this up." And all of a sudden, we're just like, keep speeding it up. And all of a sudden, it's just a honky-tonkin' son of a gun.
It's really good.
And so it's just funny how like songs can just come to life in the studio, and that was pretty cool to see that song, because we wrote it pretty slow. It was just more like laid back, chill. I'll be drinking a beer somewhere, man. But now it's like, man, get up and get up and do a little two-step.
It is. And you said last night that it's getting a little traction. Songs get around.
Yeah.
Kind of people hear them, they end up in hands, and you just don't know where they're at sometimes.
Yeah.
But you've got a little feedback on this one, haven't you?
Yeah. So Eric's signed writer, and Dave Turnbull's a signed writer. That was one of my first, just like, holy crap moments, being in the room writing with Dave Turnbull. One of my favorite songs is Outskirts of Heaven, and Dave wrote that song. And so I'm getting to write songs with guys who have written my favorite songs that I listen to every day, and so that was cool. And then Gable Bradley just got signed. So I got 3 people that I wrote the song with that are signed, and they're pushing that. And it fell in the lap of Jake Owen, and he's got it on hold right now, and we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. And
okay, now define what on hold means.
Basically, just means that they like the song, they're interested in the song.
So no one else can grab it for now.
For now, yeah.
Yeah.
But he could have 100 more, just like that, sitting there with
so
him.
Do they pay for that right? They do, don't they?
What's that now?
To have it on hold, do they pay for that right, or they?
In some cases, I don't know if.
Okay.
If, this is one of them.
Throw you a buck, man.
Yeah, I know. At least throw me like $100 bill or
yeah,
something.
exactly. You're Jake Owen, for God's sakes.
Yeah. So we're just waiting to see, and like I'm staying pretty level-headed about it, and I'm not getting my hopes up whatsoever. But I feel like I can talk about it. Like, it doesn't bother me if I talk about it and feel like I'm trying to jinx something. Like, I feel like I'm jinxing something. It's gonna happen how it's gonna happen. And
right.
I feel like I can have a few extra beers, after finding that out,
Sure.
Small
it's a
victory.
Step. It's a step.
So
you got to take your steps.
if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm not going to look back and say, man, I shouldn't have told people I had a song on hold, Like,
I'm not a believer in that. I'm a believer if things are going to happen, they're going to happen.
For sure.
That's really cool. You got a couple more songs that are going to be coming out? You're going to release them?
Yeah, man. We haven't set a date yet, but I know it's going to be soon. There's 2 more coming out. Old Habits and Small Town Prayers. And then we're going to start diving into this new stuff that I'm really into, and I'm really believing in these songs that we've been writing lately, and just super excited. More excited than I've ever been.
Any plans to do an EP or anything? I mean, you kind of do one song things.
When we have these next 2 coming out, we're going to have it's going to be a 4-song EP. It'll
With
have
the first 2?
Heartbreak Beer, and then the new 2. So it'll be a 4-song EP.
Cool.
After that, after the first of the year, we're going to get back in the studio, and we might do some like stripped down stuff, and just kind of get back to the roots of things, and just put some stuff out like that and see what people think of that. And I don't know, we got some ideas. We're not really sure yet, but got some songs coming up that just really loving.
Well, you got a real traditional sound without being. You're not a throwback, but you're not pop country.
Right, yeah.
Don't start me on that. It's good. You got a good pocket. You're working. Fits your voice.
Thank you.
I think it's good stuff, and I heard some of that other original stuff that you've been working on. It, man. You're right. It's good.
Yeah,
it's really good.
I believe in it, and that's the most important thing. When you're singing a song, you got to believe in it.
So when I was getting ready this morning, don't get too many visuals there, but I asked my Alexa to play Nick Walsh. Which is pretty damn cool, man.
Did she play it?
Yeah, heck yes, but there's another Nick Walsh out there. So if you ask Alexa to play Nick Walsh, you can get some hard rock going.
Dude, actually, yeah, I saw that. I
saw
that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, at least your brother didn't get into music, and he asked to play Joe Walsh and to get someone.
Yeah, he would have had a different name. He would have had to do a different name.
I had a buddy that actually did the same thing 20 years ago, and his first name is Garth. It's actually Garth.
Really?
So he had to be Garrett in Nashville, which didn't fit him at all.
Man.
So we started this tradition on our podcast. It's called The Overtime. Now it's its own podcast where people just ask us anything. So we've extended it into here. So one of our users, ContraCat, has 5 quick questions for The Overtime when we wrap this thing up. He said, come on, man, how rough was camp and conditioning for kickers, snappers, and punters? As opposed to the rest
who's
of the
asking these questions
here?
This
guy named ContraCat.
Okay.
Yeah.
How rough was camp for us?
for the specialists as opposed to the rest of the team.
Man, I'm not gonna lie, it was exhausting on our hips and our legs. because we're kicking, punting a lot. We're running a lot. We're running with the team a lot, but it wasn't as mentally exhausting as every other position, because while they're in meetings, we're downstairs in the players' lounge with a dip in our mouth watching South Park. So we're still up at the complex, but it was not near as mentally exhausting for us. We had a little bit more free time, but we ran with the team and we did all that. But man, it wasn't anything too rough.
What's your favorite live music spot in Nashville?
I'm gonna say Robert's Western World. It's on Broadway.
Interesting. I've never walked in that one.
They got $2.50 Busch Lights there, which is pretty cheap for Nashville.
That's really cheap for Nashville.
And they play Merle Haggard, Hank Williams, and all sorts of old country. And so, if I go out now, I'm usually going to Robert's Western World.
I will go there.
Man.
I always went to the stage, and now it's just turned into a giant monolith of 5 tiers. It's incredible. Is there one song or songwriter that kind of pointed your direction?
Eric Dillon.
Really?
I was listening to his stuff before I even knew him, honestly, and I love the songs that he writes, and so it's really. Is he
one of those guys that you can hear a song and go, oh, that's his song? You just kind of pick it up?
For sure.
My guy's Radney Foster, older school guy.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
And when you hear a Radney song, you go, that's Radney Foster. And you go back
Creek,
and look.
Closing Time.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So, if we're getting outside of Eric, Guy Clark, Steve Earle, John Prine.
Yep.
I'm a fan of all those guys. And I'm a fan of those guys because Eric was a fan of those guys, and he kind of modeled his after that. And so I feel like me and Eric have a lot in common as far as what we want to write. And so that's why we connect so well. But then, we're influenced heavily by Guy Clark and Steve Earle, and Eric has he's written songs with Guy and he's written songs with Steve, and
that's awesome.
Those are his heroes, and so
Steve Earle's the real deal.
Man. So some great songwriting going on there. I'm just trying to take notes and learn from all those guys.
Just hang around, see what rubs off on you. Okay, I skipped a topic earlier because he asked one of his overtime question. You're an outdoorsman.
For sure.
I mean, what was it, 19-point buck you got?
Yeah, 19 scoreable points.
That's amazing.
210 inches.
So give me your ideal outdoor day. What would you do?
Man, I would. That's a tough one. I'll give you 2 real quick ones though. First one would be sitting in a duck blind in the morning, getting up early. I think
you just lost me right there. Getting up early.
Yeah. So, between some back home friends and, Ertz and Valentine, some of them guys, we'd get up, we'd play a game Saturday, we'd go out to the bars till 2, come home, sleep for an hour, leave 3 in the morning, go to the gas station that was open there on whatever the hell the road is, Turtle Creek Boulevard, grab us a coffee, some donuts. I'd drive us out to the marsh while Ertz and Valentine are back there throwing up outside of the window.
Beautiful. Beautiful. College life. Heck yeah.
And we get to the duck blind. We'd just all be all huddled there because it's public ground. We had to get there early so no one else could take our spot. And we'd huddle around a heater and just sit there and, tell stories and, just wait for the sun to come up and then kill some ducks, kill some geese. There's that side of things. Being out there with friends is my favorite thing. But then on the other side of that, there's a lot of times where I just want to be by myself. And so sitting in the deer stand, waking up, just watching Earth come to life, and just being out there by myself. There's just something about just being somewhere that's just been untouched and hunting these, massive animals, white-tailed deer, and so that's pretty cool too. So there's
bow or gun?
Bow usually,
You're a bow,
unless there's something wrong with my bow,
So how far away was the big guy you got?
So and for instance, there I broke my bow a week before, so I shot him with the rifle at 220 yards.
Okay.
Yeah, 270.
Yeah, so there was a reference to bow hunting in 220 yards. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is he, Robin Hood? Yeah, it didn't make sense to me, but I'm glad I asked. His final one is a good one to wind up with. Is there one lesson from football that you now are applying to your current life that is really helping you through this journey you're on?
Man. So there wasn't a lot of D1 athletes that came out of Linden. I felt like I wanted to do something above and beyond that no one's ever done, and I've just kind of always had that in my blood. I want to do what people think I can do. So, there's a lot of people that believed in me that I could do it, but there's a lot more that believe that I couldn't do it. And so just getting to K-State and being able to start for 4 years, and there's a lot of people that didn't think that was possible from how I looked in high school as a punter, and we talked about all that already. But I just didn't feel like that's all that like God had in store for me as far as chasing dreams and making an impact. And I could have taken my finance degree and found somewhere here at home and had great times on the weekends and had a lot of money in the bank, but I want to make more of an impact than I do an income, and so decided to move to Nashville and chase that dream too. And a lot of people like to say, well, at least you got a good backup plan, you got a finance degree, and in my mind, I don't have a backup plan.
No, this is your plan. If
I got to eat out of trash cans for the rest of my life, if I get to that point where I have to eat out of trash cans to still write songs, I'm going to do it. And so yeah, I'm just going to keep chasing that dream, and I feel like that's why I got to K-State and why I fell in love with songwriting and why I ended up in Nashville. I just feel like I was born to just chase dreams. So
if you got to think about a backup plan, you don't believe in your first plan.
Yeah, exactly, man. There's no backup plan.
You just got to go.
I'm going to do it.
Well, I'm proud of you, man, because you're living life on your own terms.
Yep.
And that's the biggest gift someone can have, is not just doing stuff to pay the bills. You're doing stuff to make yourself who you want to be.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I appreciate you having me on, man. It means a lot.
You bet. Well, that's it for the Power Chat today. That's Nick Walsh. Man, catch his stuff on YouTube. He's got more stuff coming out. You should be able to spell that name. I'm Fitz, and we'll be back here in the Gig Powered Studios with another guest real soon.